Okay, so we are live now, but don't know, not very many people. Like it's still at zero, so we got some time to chill, let people come in.
Yeah.
This is the portion where we just let people come in. Hey, how you doing? Stuff like that. So, like, your wife just popped on Kiwi, I believe, because she was like, "My husband, hi." I was
That
rewatching
sounds about
our
right.
last live, and I'm like, "Who is Kiwi again?" And then she was like, "My hubby, good luck." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Well, we got one. That's a start.
Yeah, we're up to three now.
All right, good stuff.
And see, that's what stinks though, because the other one, the restream, I can actually broadcast on multiple. I could do TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and I think Twitter for
Really?
free. Now with StreamYard, you actually have to pay like $25 a month so that you can do multiple platforms at the same time. And this is only our second live, so I'm not ready to spend that money yet.
No, me neither. It's a
We
tough one.
the one show I was part of way back in the day, I did that. I actually we spent for a year for it to come out, and right after we paid for it, we kind of split, and so it was like, oh
Oh man.
no. So it's like
Wow.
I'm always like weird with money. Here we go. Who there? C right on into B. Woo woo. Oh, there we go. We have a juggalo amongst us.
Ooh, it makes it interesting.
Yes.
I like a mixed bag.
What does he say? See right now. Uh, Face of Fear effects. All my accounts finally unbanned, so I'll message you about the. Oh, okay. Message about clowning the live ends. Cool. Me or Nick? So we'll find out.
We'll get
I've
there.
had like so many people hit me up for mass recently, and I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever you're ready, and then they flatline on me. So I'm like, is this a legit thing, or they just? And you have been Nick, it's for you. Face of Fear
Oh,
effects.
okay. Okay.
He did say clown, so I was like, well, I've had two or three people ask me about clowns, but I'm like, you are a clown, the clown guy. Like you have some of the best clown masks I've seen. Like I said, the one that you gave me as a gift at Palefest that year, that's shelf.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But nor I had my laptop ready to go, but all of my stuff is like outdated by 700 or 800 years. So it just decided to reset on us. So
Aren't we
now
by definition like outdated at some rate though?
I know I feel like I'm gonna get traded in eventually. So but
Right, we're becoming classics, man. That's
this is I mean this is absolute garbage. I mean look at my laptop real quick. Like it has been through
oh
every.
man.
I mean I set it right here when I'm working on stuff, so it gets all the crap on
Yeah, my phone looks like that.
it because it's just like I'm working. So like I'm usually
Right.
listening to music or I'm watching videos and stuff. I'm actually getting ready. I got a TV back here that I'm gonna hook some stuff up to have things playing in the background while I'm doing stuff, but I know that's gonna get just.
See, that's what I got in my area. I just been watching Judas Priest music videos over here. Of course, the screen goes black as I show it. It's hard to tell now.
See, I've been now. My question here's a fun question. When you have a project and say it is like the projects for like a band member or something like that, or for a
Mhm.
band itself, will you find yourself listening to their music as you're working on it for like inspiration or anything?
Um, I normally I don't just because I like to keep the creative process kind of limited to what my perception of what I'm working on is without it being interfered with, I guess. You know,
Okay.
like I kind of keep my vision without like influence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Like me, sometimes when I'm working on like, I just did those 5 masks for this industrial artist, Agent Center,
Hmm. I saw
and
it.
when I was doing it, I'm actually like accessing some of his music because I want to try to stay in the same frame of the style that he has.
Right.
Because he's industrial, but it's not like fast industrial. It's almost like doom industrial, very slow and melodic and stuff like that. He's got a show coming up towards the end of December in Dayton, Ohio. So
There's
and he's like he's out of I want to say the Carolinas or something like that. And so he's like he keeps telling me he's trying to get close to me, but we don't have too many industrial style clubs or venues in my area.
We
So
really don't. That's not
we
much
got
of a thing anymore.
Right On's got a current project sneak peek. Is he asking that or? Oh, he's asking about a current project sneak peek. Oh, well, I kind of just flashed the one I did, but it's a project, but it's not specifically for anybody. It is basically a So you guys like I think we talked about it before. The Buckies, where it's the bottom of the bucket.
Yeah.
So I had that I had this 5 pound bucket or the 5 gallon bucket, and it was completely dried out. And instead of just throwing it away, I was like, I kind of like the shape of it and everything. And I was thinking of like a Frankenstein type look or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, let me dress it up. And now that I'm looking at it, I put straps on everything. So I was thinking of like a post-apocalyptic sludge executioner style mask.
Yeah. It's
And
unique too.
that's why I talked to you about the airbrushing and stuff. And actually, the airbrushing started working. Like you were telling me about thinning it out and stuff. And so I was using the dropper and everything. And I wonder if I'm able to flip my. Nope, I just blocked myself. I just make myself go away. There we go. What is it? Front camera, back to a wide. Boom. So there we go with that guy.
There you go.
So that's the project I'm almost finished with. I'm going to be painting these guys soon, maybe tonight or not. And so it's got the double straps on the sides. We got this little wire mesh restraint mouth.
I dig that. That is really cool.
So, and like, because everybody's like, so that's going to be like one of a kind. It's like, I don't know anybody else that'll be able to, they can make something like it, but they ain't going to be able to make that exactly. I mean, to copy that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You would have to like have the exact same parts. And
What about you? You got any projects you're working on that you're allowed to show off?
oh man, well I got so many that I would be pressed to like show each one on screen. I'll pick the one I got closest to me right now.
There you go.
There's a season 2 Twisted Metal Sweet Tooth I'm working on.
And your
I
twisted
just
metals
finished,
your sweet tooths are amazing.
thank you. Yeah, I was finished the eye patch up here and I cut the X out of it because I found screen caps of the mask behind the scenes and they actually cut the X out of the eye and put, I think, mesh or something behind it.
Oh, they do like one of those no scene meshes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes sense.
I got another one
because like once you lose vision in one of your eyes, don't you lose depth perception?
I think so. Yeah, I got another one of these I'm working on too. There's like 2 or 3 other ones sitting around me. Here's another one that's not painted yet, but it's got the sculpted parts on it. And I got like 3 or 4 of those sitting around. I got a couple
Right
devil
says cool stuff, guys. Yes, he's got some awesome stuff. See, eventually you can be like a Baskin Robbins. So you can do chocolate chip. You can do like mint chocolate chip next, and we'll
right. Yeah, like flavors on flavors.
Superman. I'll take an orange sherbet myself.
Superman, that would be cool, like a rainbow colored one.
Yeah,
I like that.
You can even do one where you can like heat it up and dent it in, make it look like somebody actually took a scoop out of it, or even a bite out of it.
Cool.
Oh man, no, like chocolate dipped. So you have like a strawberry ice cream with like a chocolate dip type look into it. That'd be so awesome. But speaking also, since we were talking about that part too, we were talking. If some of you guys know, we're both a part of it. I started 2 years ago a holiday mask exchange, and it actually started in May of 2 years ago, where we were doing a halfway to Halloween mask exchange. And then the first time we did it, we had like 11 or 12 people. And so my mass market group kind of dwindled down. It's been, like I said, it's been a rough year. It's been one heck of a year for anybody in the mask trade, hobby, whatever, making and stuff. Like our busiest season we thought would be Halloween, and like your business just picked up now.
Well, it was weird for me because throughout most of the year I've been doing those sweet tooth masks, and Trick or Treat Studios out of the blue just didn't add them, I guess, for renewal on their catalog. So I quit doing those over time, and then out of the blue, I'm the ghost face guy. Like I don't really even know how that happened.
I've seen your work. You know, your ghost faces are killer. So
I didn't even start doing them though until this year. Like I didn't really start playing around with different things until, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, well, and sometimes it takes people a while before you hit something because like for the longest time, everybody just called me Hellboy because of how I wore my goggles and facial hair. So it's like so now it's like, well, he's the Scream guy, and it's like I could have sworn there were like 5 other Scream guys before him, but now you're the Scream guy.
Right.
And who knows, in
It's
5, 7 years, you're going to be somebody else.
nature of the beast, man. It's weird how things change.
I mean, when I found out you're a professional clown, I geeked out. I thought that was awesome. I still like the fact that you and me we actually share a friend who just recently over the past year started getting into mask making too. My buddy,
Yes, and his stuff is awesome. Oh
yes,
my god.
If you guys don't know Spooky Brucey, Bruce Torriello, he goes by Spooky Brucey. He keeps wanting to bring back his Tales of Midnight stuff. Like I've been a part of it. I was part of his Halloween special where he actually had me done up as Frankenstein. But he does some really killer stuff. It's like true crime, cryptids, ghost stories, and he does it in the style of like a creature feature, like midnight horror movie host. And but his artistry is amazing. I actually have, I don't know if it's around me or not. Well, I might show it at a different time, but I have one of his coloring books. He has a cryptid coloring book. And we just recently did a thumb wrestling show for this nerd convention, and it was cryptid themed too. So in between the matches, I actually used his images and cut in between the matches for like segues and stuff. We
That
got
is really
kindness
cool.
is punk rock Superman. There you go. Every now and then I can see a comment coming through because my one computer just, I think it crapped out on me finally. It was like as I'm talking about it, it's like, no, I'm done. But
Yeah, it's the name for the computer.
because the new ones he just did is like or not Elvira, Vampira,
Yes.
and those pieces are awesome. And he's doing a vacuform now.
He's doing vacuum form?
Those are vacuform.
Damn.
And I was
Okay.
like, "You're doing vacuform?" He's like, "Yeah, he said I just had to pull a trigger and get a machine." And you are a clown? Well, he is.
Yep. Professional clown.
But when he first started, he did the 3 from EC Comics because him and me we would talk about EC Comics and stuff, Tales from the Crypt and Vaulted Mystery and stuff like that. And so when he did the first 3, he did the Witch, he did the Creep Keeper, and the Vault Keeper. And I was so geeked out over it. And when he told me the prices that he was putting on them, I was like, "You are really underselling yourself." And he was doing latex, and he was only asking 50 a piece.
That's
I was like,
it.
those are amazing because he's doing the full like cotton hoods,
Mm-hmm.
the paint and the way he paints is like he is such this wonderful artist. I want to, if we ever do another one, we got to get him on here and talk to him.
Oh, no doubt. His style is really distinctive. Like he's one of those people you can look at things he's made and know that it's his.
Yep. And then he went a little bit away from that and started doing dolls. And it wasn't just the regular dolls. Like he was doing like Hammer Film Dracula with Christopher Lee. He had like was it Rip Tor,
Mhm.
Tor, you know, uh, oh, not Rip. Why did I say Rip? No,
You're thinking
Tor
of Tor.
Johnson. There we go. Tor Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
which was one of the very first Halloween masks I ever had that was latex. And
The
so he had
Dawn.
a Tor Johnson doll, and his stuff is like he loves like werewolves. Like back in the day, they used to call him like Wolf Boy because I used to work
Yep.
with him on house when he was 15. Like he was 15, I was 19, and he just kind of stayed to himself and would just do accent paints and everything like that. And his dad, uh, uh, he was kind of more like the handyman type.
Right. Right.
We got another question I'm trying to read, but my phone is garbage.
That makes two of us.
I need to go to where what I wish my laptop would actually start because it's like blah blah blah. If the reason you started loving mass, and I'm like, I wish I knew what to say. All right, I've
We'll get.
always okay. So, oh, it's your wife. Well, just have your wife come in and ask you. I've always wondered every time I try to read it. I always wondered what drove you into the mask making business. What was your first ever mask? And what was your first ever mask, and was it the reason you started loving the whole mask thing?
Is that a question for me or you?
It could be for. I mean, we can both answer it.
I'll let you go first then.
Okay, for me, like I said, I keep highlighting it instead of actually reading it. I've always wondered what drove you into the mask making business. What was your first ever mask? My first ever mask was just a plastic hockey mask.
That makes
I was 1 year old when I first watched Friday the 13th. Sat on my dad's knee. Like my dad always told me about it. I giggled when Kevin Bacon got the arrow through his throat. Supposedly, he was like, "You laughed so hard when that happened." I'm like, "Why are you bringing a 1-year-old? This is your fault.
why.
This
He
is
knew.
completely your fault." But I had that hockey, and I was so thrilled about it, And it was at the time it was a $10 mask. It was, and it wasn't even like the really good one. It was the really flimsy one, but it had the chrome over it.
I remember they would come in a bag.
Yes, came in a bag with like a meat cleaver.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was mad that I'm like, this should be a machete, but he does use meat cleavers. Like I actually did a count one time, and it's somewhere on Yahoo Answers where I actually show you how many times, because everybody's like, he's known for his machete, but I answered how many times with a machete, how many times with all these different weapons, because I had nothing to do that night. But I got all bummed out because I bent it and all that chrome just crackled and popped off of it.
Yeah, those are really bad for that.
Mm-hmm. And so I took a red marker and some scissors and was cutting into it and drew the triangle, because I didn't know it was a chevron back in the day, but I drew triangles on it and stuff and wore it. Right. And I took it to school, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's so cool." I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "It's like the real thing." No way it was like the real thing. But we're like 8 and 9 years old. We don't care.
Right.
But it wasn't until like I was always making masks. I was even doing I would take like packaging tape and just cover my face and start breathing heavily until it peeled off, and then I would paint that up and put straps on it and stuff. Yeah,
I did that too.
And I think that was like my real love for collecting masks. Was I was working under the table for Halloween Express, and I worked an entire weekend, and she gave me this big box, and she goes, "Fill it with whatever you want." And I had we called it Michelle Myers. It was the Don Post female Michael Myers, and I grabbed the other two regular Michael Myers. I grabbed a Darth Vader helmet. I grabbed a red, which at the time I didn't even really know much about Star Wars. I didn't care for Star Wars, but I knew their masks were awesome. So I grabbed a stormtrooper. I grabbed one of the Red Guards, and then I got really into collecting. But my heart always goes to the hockey mask, because for me,
that's where it started.
Any mask I make, anytime I make a mask, even if it doesn't look like a hockey mask anymore, it was my base. No treble. That was my base. So
isn't it weird that Friday the 13th for everyone was kind of like our first exposure to masks was through Jason
or Michael Myers,
Right. I mean, my first memory of a slasher film, I think it was Freddy versus Jason. It was the end where Jason's walking out of the lake with Freddy's head.
How old are you again?
30.
I got 13 years on you. Oh yeah. You're like Freddy versus Jason, like, oh God. I was out.
And you're like, wait, that's old now? What?
Oh my God, I was like 20 something.
You gotta laugh. If you don't, you'll cry.
I still remember when Jason X came out, and I watched it 3 times in the regular theaters, and then it hit the cheap seats, like the dollar flicks. And every time I went on break or I got off work, I would just go and watch it there and stuff, because I loved how campy it was. And I'm like, man,
it's good.
Old. Well, because that sticks with which we can always talk about stuff like that later on, but it sticks with the whole formula that made Friday the 13th so popular, But it's now your turn. Talk to us about what got you into it. What was your first match?
I think anybody who knows me will immediately know that I love Twisted Metal. Like that's kind of just been my thing. My older brother was actually what got me into twisted metal, and he always kind of set the standard for what was cool for me as the younger brother,
Mm.
you know. And he made me my first mask. It was like a sweet tooth mask. It was made out of a plastic like bin lid was what it was. Like he cut it into the shape of a mask. It had like a blue nose, blue paint around the eyes, like sharp teeth, and I loved that thing. I took it everywhere with me. It
That's
had
so
like a bungee cord as a strap on it. I loved it.
And see, that's why I like it too. Is like, oh, some of the people that are very like their favorite masks aren't like always store bought.
Hmm.
It's something that was created by a person's hands as a gift and something like that. So for you, it's a very personal gift, you know,
Right.
and
And,
that's
and for me too, you know, it goes back to the whole using what you have around you to make something. When you're younger, you don't have access to all these professional tools that you can make this, and you know how to do this and this with X and Y. You just use whatever you got available. And I respect the love that goes into that.
yeah, because they know what they want. They can see in their head what they're wanting, but they can't just have something like that there at the ready all the time. Now
Exactly.
with like 3D printing and stuff like that, it starts to get easier. But
Right.
when we were kids, you know, like when I was a kid, sci-fi stuff like toys and everything were big, but our family couldn't afford that. My dad on the side was scrapping copper. He was finding like copper cords and wires and stuff. He'd cut the ends off. This tub of ending like little ends and stuff. I had glue, I had paint, and started
Hmm.
sticking together, make my own little spaceships, you know. And I
Exactly.
was school and kids were like, "This is awesome. Where did you get this one at?" So these kids with their, you know, $15, which nowadays would be a $50, you know, spacecraft, would look at mine and be like, "How much you want for that? Can I get that?" And I'm
Right.
like, "Oh, sure, I'll trade you your $15 one for it."
It makes me think a lot about how accessibility has changed with artistry. You know, because back when we were kids, we didn't have online communities. We didn't have YouTube videos. You just had to get your hands dirty and do it. And I
We had
feel
to
like
get
there's a
out.
degree of experience you lose when you're not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's like I kind of miss that. Like originally, like when I was starting like my whole mass monger thing, that's why when I make my mass, I try to go live. I want people to watch what I'm doing and actually go, okay, so that's what he did. Because maybe I'm
Right.
doing something where somebody's stuck. And so they see
Right.
what I do to that might help them out of a rut or give them an idea later on. We're like, hey, I remember Cecil did this, so let me do this. You know?
Exactly.
And
And I've been
I'm
wanting to do something like what you've been doing for a while. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it because I love the videos that you put out.
well,
They're fantastic.
bang bang, dude. That's all I gotta say. Like if you set up one of your masks before you start painting and stuff, and you show now there are those people that get worried. They're like, man, if I show them how I'm doing my stuff, then everybody's gonna do it. And I'm like, that's great. But at the same time, there's going to be those people that see what we're doing and they still aren't going to want to motivate themselves enough to do it themselves.
And see, my thing too is like I've never had an issue with somebody learning what I do and the way that I do it because you know how it is. We started this out of love. We didn't do this out of a desire to make money from it. We just got lucky.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a generation after us that has to pick this up and do it. And who else are they going to learn from? You know, learn
Why have them start on
started
the ground floor again if we can give them those tools,
it.
you
Hmm.
know? It's like we're not trying to knock people back to the Stone Age. You
Right.
know, I reach out to you for it. Like that was one of the things that I found funny when I had this person reach out to me. They're like, I wanted to ask you because you're not a gatekeeper in the mask making community. I'm like, do we
Yeah,
actually have gatekeepers? Like,
we do.
and
And
I don't.
I get it to a point because for some people, it is their livelihood. They don't want to give up their trade secrets that give them their trademark that gets them business.
Ooh, hey, Face of Fear. What are your top three favorite masks in your collection? This
I'll
time you
let you
go
go.
first. Nope, I went
I'll
first
go
last time.
first.
Yeah, you go first this
All right.
time.
Well, let me see if I can pull them up on my camera here. I've got a few different ones. One of my favorites would have to be this guy here, my Twisted Metal Head On Sweet Tooth. And the reason why is this is made from a Blacktooth Creations blank. I re-sculpted the teeth, drummed out the mouth so that it would be sharp, changed a bunch of shit on it. And I've wanted one of these since I was like 10 or 12. So when I finally got one, I was like, oh, wow. But also, I don't know if you can see him up there. Oh, Emmett Kelly.
Yeah.
It's another one I repainted. And man, I have a hard time picking just that amount because there's so many up here that I see, and I'm like, I don't know. I really like them. But those would be like my top two. Number 3 would be Mr. Grin. I love this dude. I don't know why. It's just wrong looking at him. Something ain't right. Yeah, those would be my 3, I would say.
Okay. No, those are awesome picks. Okay. And the funny thing is, I'm like, at the time, I'm like, right now, if I was to pick my top 3 favorites, let's see, I'm going to go and cough my brains out. Let's switch my camera real quick. Boom. And just me. Get out of here. Anyway, so this is one of my guys right here. I got this from Bad Jack Productions.
Oh, nice.
Just
Splatter
called the Psycho Mask, right? But I made these a lot wider, opened that part up too, so I could have it look more like the 360 version.
Yep, that is dope.
And then, gave it all the beatings and stuff on it, darkened it up. And then, honorable mention, the one you made me, of course. Then we got, the BCD. Gas mask has always been like one of my favorite masks to have ever. So
and the BCD is just prolific. You can't go wrong with it.
I mean, I got that as a gift because he originally sent me this as a blank and wanted to see me paint it and everything. And he's like, well, I got some extra for you. When I opened it up, it was underneath that mask. So that was fine. And then, I mean, honestly, I like this guy. I mean, I'm a fan of anime.
Mm-hmm.
I love Full Metal Alchemist, and this was a part of one of the mask exchanges that we were talking about earlier. Crowbar Jones made that for me. He just started again doing foam. So as awesome as this looks, and you realize this is just lightweight foam that he
wow.
made.
Yeah, it looks like metal.
Exactly. He did a great job. He's also done Pyramid Head. He still hasn't done it yet, even though I told him he should do it because I did those Jackal cage masks.
Yep.
And he like that still blows my mind. I still love this guy right here. The Jason X mask that you got me because you couldn't finish the project. I was like, yes.
I don't even remember how or why I came across that because I'd had one before and I think I sold it or gave it away or something. And then I just had that one that's just sitting and collecting dust. So
what we got going on? Somebody else saying something now. I'm trying to scroll. What mask would you feel like making outside the horror and clowning community? Example, gaming. Well, see, that's my thing. Like me, I would do personally like anime. There's a mask that I actually like right now. It's called from the Soul Grievers.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Let This Soul Griever Retire. And the joke of it is he's with this double S tier group, like if you were doing like D&D. They're all the best in the world, almost God mode. Mm-hmm. He's their leader. He doesn't have any abilities, but they call him Thousand Tricks because he kind of just lucks himself into things where he comes out on top. And so they all have these masks that are kind of skeletal on the inside and go out, and they also have no eyes. And everybody's like, it's for our concentration and picking up our senses. No, he forgot to draw eyes on the design when he sent them to get made. And that was the joke of it. But they're really like, it almost looks like an anime style, like a skeletal mask meets like Rorschach. And so I love those masks. I'm like, eventually I'm gonna have to make one of those. And then besides that, the worm masks from Pink Floyd, The Wall. So those are the ones I like outside of the horror and clowning community.
That's a really good one.
Now it's your turn.
Honestly, my mind has been so preoccupied lately with commissions that I've had no empty space left to think about it. If I had to pick one off the top of my head outside of horror and clowning, though, see, that's tough because I don't know of a lot of mask related media that is directly tied to either one of those things.
Because
And,
then
and
when they
you're in
say
there,
no clowning, it's like, oh crap, because you can do plenty of clown masks that aren't horror related.
right? Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to narrow it down.
Kiwi says, make a knight.
That'd
Just
be
like a
cool.
knight's helmet. Kind
Yeah.
of like that one. Make a knight. Okay, it's worth a night. I want to
More
see
like
some fantasy in your work, Nick. Hey. Put some
See,
elves.
I don't know. I stay within the confines of things that I can kind of feel through to a point. And what I mean by that is if I make something like a slasher mask, for instance, I'll kind of put myself into the mindset of the person who would wear that. Why would it
Yeah.
look this way? Why would it wear down this way? What kind of, you know, scratches and dents would it have? I have a hard time with fantasy because it's not grounded in reality. That's the only reason I don't really cross into that realm all that
See, I
much.
don't, and see, with me, I don't mind fantasy because when you're like, there's no reality, I'm like, now I suddenly have more freedom, which
Right,
does
right,
have that problem of, because if you don't have any rules, then now it's suddenly hard because you have so many options. You got to make up
exactly.
your mind.
And I think fantasy is kind of a wide spectrum too, you know, because there's a lot of different ways that you could work that into a design. When I
Mm-hmm.
think of fantasy, I think of like Lord of the Rings or like a centaur or something like that.
And see, I've had people actually approach me before for the we're the ones that go after the ring, the not the Death Eaters,
Um,
Wraiths.
race, yeah.
Yeah, the Wraith Knights or whatever they're called, but they have those weird helmets and stuff. And I've had people be like, "Can you make something like that?" Or they want like me to do the crowns of the like the crowns that they wear and stuff, like Sauron and whatnot. I'm like, it's a bit much. Like I'm like, here's a ballpark price, and then they stop talking to me. I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
but like,
You know, that's something I've noticed kind of helps to weed out some people that don't want to pay for something. Just say a price that is completely out of this world. Like, oh, it's $1,000.
there was actually a point in my time where if somebody wanted to reach out to me on Facebook just to talk to me, they had to pay me $3. And
Nothing wrong with
anybody
that.
that paid, they got a mask, because it was like at least they were serious about it. Who
Right.
made
Your price.
I don't know who made that recast of that West German. It's a really small, tight one though.
The Tattooed Stranger, I think, is what it's called, but I don't know who made it.
Okay, there you go. Well, yeah. See, I don't know who made it, but I think you're the one that originally told me that before too. So it was either you or Covert. So you got,
That sounds like something that probably came from Covert, more than likely.
he's just the congressional library.
He really is. My lord.
We've jokingly said it's like he needs to start charging people. It's like, hey, what's this mask about? Well, blah 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 blah. It's like, here's the history.
Right. We just
You are your
noticed that
history lesson when he tells you.
I don't know where he pulls his knowledge from. Like he just has this Rolodex of history in his mind that he just has on speed dial. Like how
And
do
the
you do?
fact that he keeps it locked in there, and it's like, and here it is.
Yeah,
Like when we were putting together Psychotic Symphony stuff, he was effortlessly, oh, you mean like this? And just sends me a photo. I'm like, I've been on Google for like 19 hours and never found an image. And you're just like, here's 7.
yeah, the crazy part is you still can't find much of anything about Psychotic Symphony anywhere.
I know.
I'm,
But there's some fun news about that because of me working with the band. I keep slowly getting some of these band members are starting to share with me photos from their own collection. And recently they've been like, well, don't put these out yet. So I'm not. But eventually they're going to basically be like thumbs up. And I believe Covert's actually running the Psychotic Symphony archive on Instagram. And so when we get the thumbs up, I'll probably send them to him so he can put them all over that, because it's
That is
a little digital archive there. But yeah,
lost media before like you guys started posting videos and pictures and whatnot.
So, actually, just over the past like year or two, YouTube has now been showing a lot of behind the scenes stuff from Psychotic Symphony for them getting ready for shows, or when they were with their original band name was like Dichondra, and like, so because people are starting to get an interest again, especially when AJ, we did the one mask I made that I sent to AJ.
Yep.
He liked it, and then Covert's like, we're gonna roll with this. So then he found the real mask and the real wig, the originals and stuff, and Larry's getting ready to be, because I still got these guys back here that I'm probably going to send AJ to look at.
Right.
So we're getting the ball rolling on them. They keep teasing around the idea of a reunion show. So
that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Palefest 2026. Just saying, But what time we got?
Looks like 7:20 from where I'm sitting.
Dang, 7:20 already. So wow, I didn't even get to talk about the other stuff. This is what happens with ADHD. We're at 45 minutes. That's still
right. We're here. We're everywhere.
List off the side, so when I glance, I go, "Oh, we're nowhere near that." Because I was like 35, 45 minutes, okay, and then it's like no, and so we're already at like 36 minutes though, but we still got to care more. My thing is, okay, so the mask exchange we're doing.
We made it back, guys.
Let's go back in 15 minutes, shall we? What I like about what we're going to be doing, and this is one of the things that I'm doing that some people are saying it's different. Now, normally when you do some kind of a gift exchange, you get the names and you guys trade with each other, right? We're not doing it that way. And the reason why is because I want it to still be a surprise. And that's why we're also not, I'm not doing the selection until the night of, when you're supposed to be mailing it out the next day, because I don't want people suddenly hitting, like, let's say, for example, if it was the original way and we drew each other, then I'd be like, hey man, just let you know, I like this, I like this, I like this, I want you to make it like that. And then you're doing the same thing. So we're just basically making it for each other. Now, when that happens, though, you still have that weight on your shoulders going, he's telling me what he wants, I better do it right. I better make it right. What I want out of this is I want them, if they're going to make the masks, I want them to represent themselves when making the mask, something they know that they like, that they really try on, so that when they give it to the other person, it does show not what they were, it may not per se be what they're wanting, but you are giving yourself, you're giving them a representation of yourself.
Right. It's an honest piece.
Exactly. It's like, when you gave me that clown mask, that's not something that I told you that I wanted, but when I see that, I'm like, this is a great representation of skin rot, And here we go. We got same do mask usage. There we go. Do you think the band community and the mask community are one of the same due to the mask usage? Like Slipknot, it's kind of, there's people I know that collect Slipknot masks that don't care to listen to the music, but they love the way the masks look. So
if I could be honest with you, I've made more than a few West German clowns, and I only know a very small handful of Slipknot music. I don't go out of my way to listen to them at all. It doesn't mean I don't like them. Not my jam.
Oh, see, like with me, I listen to, the self-titled. I listen to Iowa. There's a little bit of sprinkling in there, but I didn't religiously follow them or anything.
Have you listened to
even with their newer stuff? I know I like them.
Right.
You play Surfacing, and I'm right there along, just pumping my fist. But some of the other stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I'm not. I'll listen to it, but it's not that I know them by heart. That's why you don't see a ton of Slipknot stuff. But I love them. The only reason why I even listened to Slipknot was because that BCD Sid had on his face. I saw
Right.
that on a T-shirt, and I was like, "Who's this band?" And I listened. I was like, "Yeah, they're pretty nice. I like this." But even if I never listened to their music, I always wanted to see the new masks that were coming out or how the masks were
That's
changing.
kind of where I'm at with Slipknot too. Is like I don't listen to much of the new music, but it's their media representation is kind of a gateway into the artistry that they've basically founded an entire hobby on. You know.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with Mushroom Head. I
Mhm.
listened to their first two albums. After that, I kind of just dropped off. I know they had an out like I had the Freddy versus Jason album. They have
That is
Sun
such
Doesn't
a bang.
Rise.
Oh my god, that is such a banger album.
Yes. Oh my god, and El Nino and 5.0's on. Or is 5.0 got a song on there, or is it just
I think yeah, no, El Nino's on there. Mike Patton is on there. Spine Shank, Slipknot, Mushroom Head, Murder Dolls.
yeah. I
There's
remember seeing. I was big into Myrtle Dolls when the first album came out. You know, because I'm like Halloween and horror. This is perfect. You know,
exactly
and especially because then I watched the one episode where AJ was showing Joey's mask, how it was looking like how he was going to actually do his face up for Murder Doll. So I was like, that's kind of a fun little like teaser about the next band coming.
right.
But yeah, there's like Mudvayne was the same. That, like I said, but I didn't religiously get into their stuff. I still remember standing next to Jeffrey Nothing at Pale Fest that year, and I just looked down. I was like, "Did you put anything on my trick or treat bucket?" And he's like searching, but the guys, the guys with the ghost giving crew had already picked my stuff clean. So all was in there was like little pencils and trinkets, and he's just like, "Nah, I'm good." I was like, "You sure you don't want pencils?" I felt bad. But yeah, but at the same time, those masks that he has with the fingers and the hands and everything, I'm like, those are beautiful. Like I love that. So and yeah, like you can love the band's masks and their aesthetic and stuff. You know, when I was growing up, like Marilyn Manson, I didn't care for Marilyn Manson's music at the time much, or how he acted and everything, but I really dug the aesthetic of him. Like some of the headgear that he wore, and when Beautiful People came out with the goggles that he had and whatnot. Actually, the goggles got me into listening to this one band, Aesthetic Perfection. They had a song called Great Depression. He was performing, looked kind of like almost like Victorian meets steampunk, but it's industrial music.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that he was holding onto a light bulb, but he was singing into it like it was a microphone. But
Right,
it's
it's
like,
just little things like that.
but I'm very much a novelty or theatrical band, so I find myself, you know, migrating to those people or
Right,
that style of music just to see what it's like.
right,
And especially when we're in our profession, that's what we want to do anyway, because
right,
we make
right.
these masks and stuff, so we find ourselves in depth with horror or any kind of like new metal, horrorcore rap, like all those different genres that you would see face painting, costumes, masks.
Yep. It all
So
kind of comes together.
that's why I actually even so that's why I'm going to eventually get you more into wrestling, like because I just recently saw that Michelle Gore has been making masks for the Brothers of Funstruction,
Hmm.
and they're an NWA tag team and former champions and stuff. And so I'm like, man, I was like, some of your paint, some of your mask work would look perfect on some wrestlers coming out to the ring. Because like, I have like I probably made masks for about 100 wrestlers for intro masks, and I'm like, your work needs to get out there,
I will
especially when you're
say,
coming.
I wasn't going to at first, but I did happen to get a message from Yabo.
Hey,
Um, we'll see where it goes.
my fingers are crossed, dude. Like I said, I mean, you and your clown work, seeing that on, especially like a clown coming out to the ring and stuff. Jeez.
Well, I think clowning kind of works with it too, because when you're learning your clown makeup, one of the first things that you're instructed to do is kind of make faces in a mirror and see how the wrinkles of your face move and whatnot. And you're meant to accentuate those parts so that they pop. That's the primary point of clown makeup. So it extends over to mask paint because when I see a mask, I look at the features first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, okay, if I paint this way, this will make this area pop. This area is recessed, it can go back a little bit more. So they kind of just, it's pack and parcel.
And that's why I like when I paint a mask. A lot of times I like doing dry brushing, because sometimes you get those Walmart masks or even the Spirit masks. You'll buy them, and it's just such a flat color that there's detail in it that you can't see. So it's
Right.
like you get it with a coat, maybe a metallic or some kind of lighter, and you just dry brush it on. And now you're seeing like tones and creases and wrinkles and crevasses that weren't, you didn't see beforehand. And it's like, and now I'm like,
is you can almost do more with dry brushing than you can with airbrushing. Sometimes it's
mm-hmm.
a lot more.
I like my thing. I absolutely, especially when I do like my junk punk pieces, because I always want them to have some kind of a metallic look to it. So I'm always metallic dry brushing on it. And, like, people love that stuff, but because I really want some of those accents to pop. And if you just paint it one color, even if you paint it one color and then you just hard paint on the accents of like the spikes and this piece and that, it's great. But that dry brushing really brings out the depth. Like I'm very much pro dry brush. Anything that I'm painting mask wise, I always want some kind of a dry brush done to it. So,
have you tried dry brushing with makeup yet?
No, I haven't. But I have to have a specific kind of makeup when I do it, because I found out that I'm allergic to a lot of different paints. Like the very first one was metallic paint, especially silver. I did an Uber pinhead one year for a haunted house, and I had the mask fit me perfect, but I had the mouth and the eyes cut out, so I painted that silver. I didn't have the paint on me for more than 5 minutes, and I was like rushing to scrub my face, and like my eyes and my mouth were all swollen and bright red. And then I had the Riddick contacts, popped them in, didn't even have them in for a full 30 seconds before I'm like taking my fingernails and pulling them off because my eyes were itching so bad. And it was the same, the whatever pigment that it was to make that silver, I'm allergic to. And then just recently, there's like, I used to use Mayron paint all the time with the paint sticks. Can't use those anymore. So it's like, that's why I'm like really, I actually have a worse allergic reaction to some of these grease paints than I am with latex. Which is crazy, because I've been allergic to latex, I don't know, since I was like 17 when I first discovered it. I love latex masks, but I can't wear them.
I was going to say, isn't that like the worst allergic reaction you could have when you're a mask collector, is latex?
Or especially when you're working on masks, because I'm like, let me try it on. I'm sweating tonight, so this is going to suck.
You break out in your hives and shit. I've had that happen. It's
absolutely terrible. But we are at 47 minutes and 53 seconds. So I think now's a good time. Oh, wait, first let's answer this question. Do you guys think Killer Clowns from Outer Space inspired more masked clowns? I don't think so.
No.
Personally, no. And the reason why I don't think so is because those aren't technically masks. That's supposed to be just like special effects. It's not a person wearing a mask as the Killer Clowns. Those are the aliens themselves. Do I know any kind of a movie with masked clowns that would spark that? Not offhand. What do you think, Nick?
I've heard from a lot of people that it started because of Stephen King's It, and I think that more or less that's the umbrella answer. And the reason why I think it's kind of a long-winded answer, but if you look back at the 30s, 40s, 50s, clowns were doing product placement. They were revered. They were on television, books, and the natural swing of the pendulum during the 80s and the 90s was going into a darker direction. And clowns kind of went with that because clowns are a byproduct of their culture. And throughout the 2000s, you just started seeing more evil clown masks and whatnot, just because that was the direction that things organically took, I believe, at least.
See, but it's like, I think what started more of, and me, that's my whole thing, is when you have some of these clowns that have a more grandiose design to their faces, instead of just painting it, if I put it on a mask and just wear it, you know, like kids back in the 60s and 70s, Bozo is a very, you know, famous clown. But not everybody can just immediately paint their faces like Bozo. But when you have these costume kits with the vacuum form masks, there you go. You know, it's easier to, because I was doing that for juggalos that go into the gathering. You know, they're like, they have their own face paint design. I'm like, hey, let me just put it on a face you can put on, so you're not always having to paint your face up. They love that idea, because then they're not worried about, you know, scrubbing their skin raw every time they have to wash. So
Right,
what is this? Face of Fear. Okay, Nick, I got a new West German that's already partly converted, so I'm gonna have to change the paint job request from a vintage clown type thing to a self-titled clown. I'm just working on your requests on your orders right now. Hi, welcome to Skin Rot Studios. This is Tim Cease. How can I help you?
You're my secretary now.
You said you needed to change it to the self-titled. Okay.
Well, I mean, you know where to reach me, man. You can hit me up through there. But
yeah. Speaking of, yes, once again, as we're closing, how can we reach out to you for any kind of customs, repaints, commissions? Boom.
Facebook.com, Nicholas Cottrell. I've not really used my Skin Rot Studios page in a lot longer than I should have, but
started.
Look me up by my first and last name. It'll be a red ink image of me with the word bitchin' next to it.
And if you guys ever want to reach out to me, you can always just leave a comment down here on any of my videos, or you can hit me up at themaskmonger@gmail.com. I have a Maskmonger page on my TikTok, on my Facebook, Ratlock_is_a_badass on my Instagram, and we're getting ready to re-release our last live. I've actually cut it to where I'm putting in the images of some of the masks that we were already talking about, so it'll be easier for you guys to follow along and be like, well, what mask is he talking about? That way you'll actually see it all, and I'll be probably doing it with this one as well. So I think that is it for us tonight. If you guys like it, like I said, share, comment, make sure you subscribe, tell your friends about it, and hopefully there'll be a third one. We can reach out and talk to you guys then. How's that sound? All right. Nick, say goodbye to everybody.
Can I have one more thing before we go?
No. It would have been great if I just ended it right there. If I just hit end. Right there. Just one more thing before we go.
One thing I wanted to add is I've noticed a lot of people out there are kind of looking to do something different from everyone else in terms of artistry. They're kind of trying to go too far into their own direction and not be like someone else. All art is derivative of something, and to a point it becomes like a math equation. It's not about being your own thing as much as it is the technique behind it. So instead of worrying about finding your own style, worry about technique, and that will take you where you need to be. To all the young artists that might watch this, just make sure your focus is where it should be.
No matter how different you try to be, there's always going to be 100 people out there that are going to end up looking just like yours. Mm-hmm. Like you said, worry about your technique, but also just have fun. If you feel like doing it, don't worry about if it's going to look like something else. Exactly. There's plenty of stuff that him and me have both worked on and made that somebody sees and they go, oh, you're trying to do this. I wasn't, but, you know, just have fun with it. Don't worry about, is it going to look like this, or are they going to think it's this? If you like it, what should it matter? If you like it and you're working on it, other people are going to like it too. Exactly. And the ones that don't, fuck them. You know? That's
the words right out of my mouth.
There you go. Say goodbye, Nick.
All right, take it easy, guys. Stay bitching.
Yeah. And until next time, science.